This is the third and final part of our series in which we explore conservation projects that are small scale but are big on impact. Food is often top of mind for many of us every day, but we often don't consider where our food comes from, the impact that producing it has, or the sustainability of our food system. Climate change can have significant impacts on producing food, and traditional agriculture can have large-scale impacts on soil and local ecosystems. In this episode, we're exploring a small-scale, sustainable food production solution that leverages natural ecological processes. Stay tuned. There are a lot of challenges that farmers and food producers face today due to the impacts of climate change. Unpredictability in weather patterns, more frequent extreme weather events, and altered growing conditions significantly impact food production and crop yields associated with traditional agriculture. As agricultural zones shift and growing conditions become more strained, ensuring sustainable food security for the population becomes increasingly complex and urgent. Additionally, traditional agricultural approaches have the potential to lead to large-scale environmental impacts. Things like nutrient leaching, biodiversity loss, soil degradation, and increasing the impact of climate change through the emission of greenhouse gases. And while it's important to be aware of these potential environmental challenges associated with agriculture, it's also important to note that there are a lot of great farmers out there doing really innovative and environmentally sound food production as well, and they deserve a lot of credit for putting food on our table and for thinking about our planet as well. Traditional agricultural methods, such as the overuse of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and frequent tilling, lead to soil degradation, erosion, and compaction. These practices not only strip the soil of essential nutrients, but also disrupt the microbial ecosystems vital for maintaining soil health and structure. As soil quality declines, its ability to support sustainable agricultural productivity diminishes. The degradation and poor structure of soil enhance the risk of nutrient leaching. Excess nitrogen and phosphorus from fertilizers can seep into waterways, leading to things like eutrophication. This process results in dense algae blooms and plant growth that deplete oxygen in water bodies, severely affecting aquatic life and the overall health of these ecosystems. The reduction in biodiversity is another significant consequence of conventional farming. Uniform agricultural expanses and the use of chemicals reduce habitats and diminish species populations, which destabilize ecosystems. Also, conventional agriculture has the potential to be a large source of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Things like compromised soil further loses its ability to act as a carbon sink, enhancing atmospheric carbon levels and exacerbating global warming impacts on climate and agriculture. So how do we begin to deal with some of these complex challenges? This is where concepts like permaculture come into play. Permaculture is an innovative and holistic approach to agriculture that focuses on designing sustainable and self-sufficient ecosystems, inspired by the natural systems and cycles observed in nature. This approach seeks not only to produce food, but also to cultivate an ecological balance that supports various forms of life. The core of permaculture lies in its integration of land, resources, people, and the environment through a series of mutually beneficial relationships. It emphasizes the creation of sustainable agricultural practices that work in harmony with the natural world rather than fighting against it. This includes the strategic placement of plants, water management, and soil regeneration to achieve a productive and sustainable ecosystem. Permaculture principles prioritize the use of renewable resources and natural energy sources, such as solar and wind power, to reduce dependency on non-renewable energy. Waste minimization is another crucial aspect of permaculture, promoting recycling and composting to enrich the soil and reduce pollution. By focusing on these elements, Permaculture aims to build systems that are not only ecologically sound, but also economically viable and socially just. It encourages local production and consumption, reducing transportation costs and environmental impact, while fostering community resilience and self-reliance. One example of a permaculture solution to food production is the idea of a food forest. Food forests are multi-layered systems that replicate natural forests, but are composed of edible trees, shrubs, and plants. These forests are designed to be low maintenance and sustainable, producing a diverse array of foods and fostering biodiversity, thereby creating a resilient agricultural ecosystem. So to understand what a food forest is, let's think of a lasagna. Just as a lasagna layers its ingredients, the pasta, the sauce, the cheese, and sometimes vegetables or meat for a delicious combination, a food forest arranges its plant life in layers to create a thriving ecosystem. The top layer, or the canopy, consists of tall trees, beneath which you can find smaller fruit trees, then shrubs, herbaceous plants, ground covers, and finally, root crops and soil life. Each layer in a food forest has a specific purpose, much like each layer in a lasagna contributing to the overall flavor and texture. This layered design not only makes efficient use of space, but also supports a diverse range of life, fostering a self-sustaining environment. But what is the point of putting in the effort to create a food forest? Ecologically, they enhance biodiversity by providing habitats for various species and creating a more resilient ecosystem that can better withstand pests and diseases. For the soil, the integration of diverse native plant life and organic matter from decaying plant material improves soil structure, increase fertility, and enhance water retention, reducing erosion and nutrient runoff. Socially, food forests can strengthen community ties by serving as a communal space for education, recreation, and the shared labor and rewards of harvesting. So the concept of food forests really captured my interest during my PhD when I worked in the Northwest Territories. And this was because the community there was exploring food forests as a way to boost local food production, also to enhance food security and support environmental sustainability. And with the boreal forest all around the community, this made a lot of sense. So when I discovered that there was a food forest established in my hometown, I knew I had to go check it out. This project in Kingsford Gardens Park in Oakville, Ontario, is a collaborative effort between Halton Food and the town of Oakville, transforming an underused former fruit orchard into a living example of sustainability and community engagement. So here's a quick overview of the food forest. I'm going to give you a pan of the entire thing here. So starting from the right side and going all the way to the left side over here. And like in the last video, this is a relatively new project, so you can't really get a sense of what the final product is going to look like. But here's an image showing what a full-fledged food forest could look like. But what we can see here is the diversity in some of the trees and plants that were planted here. So you got some of these taller trees that'll form the canopy layer eventually, and then more of these kinds of shrub type of plants. And you also got some of this ground cover type of plant as well. And this goes back to that kind of layered design that we talked about earlier. So here we actually have a pear tree. Here we have a relatively young apple tree. Here we actually have a black currant bush. The 500 square meter design of the Oakville Food Forest mimics the complex layers of a natural forest, with tall canopy trees being planted, lower fruit trees, shrubs, and ground cover. And this biodiversity not only maximizes the productivity of the space, but also supports a healthy soil ecosystem. It reduces the need for artificial fertilizers, minimizes water runoff, and provides critical soil organic matter. Ecologically, the food forest increases local biodiversity by providing habitat for various wildlife, including beneficial insects and birds, and plays a crucial role in sequestering carbon, thereby mitigating climate impacts. Community involvement is at the core of this project. Residents of all ages participate in the planting and ongoing care of the forest, turning it into a vibrant hub for learning and sharing. This hands-on participation helps deepen their connection to the local environment and promotes a sustainable lifestyle.
And as the forest matures, it's going to serve as a dynamic educational resource, demonstrating the practical and environmental benefits of permaculture and sustainable food systems. The success of the Oakville Food Forest may inspire similar projects elsewhere, highlighting the potential for community-driven green initiatives to build healthier, more sustainable ecosystems in urban spaces. So while the benefits of the food forest are pretty exciting, it's also important to understand its role within the broader food system and food system concepts, particularly those of food security and food sovereignty.
Food security and food sovereignty, while interconnected, represent distinct concepts within food systems. Food security focuses primarily on ensuring that all people have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs. In contrast, food sovereignty extends beyond access, emphasizing the right of people to define their own food systems and to produce healthy and culturally appropriate food through methods that are sustainable and socially just.
But where do food forests fit? Well, food forests likely contribute more significantly to food sovereignty than to food security by enabling communities to cultivate their own diverse food sources, maintain control over their agricultural practices, and preserve local ecosystems and traditions, thereby fostering autonomy and resilience in local food production, rather than directly providing an abundance of food to reduce the impact of food insecurity. Food forests do more than just sustainably produce food. They reconnect us with nature, strengthen our community bonds, and enhance our overall well-being. Each plant in a food forest contributes to a thriving ecosystem that benefits not only wildlife, but also us, improving our diets, air quality, and environment.
Imagine visiting a food forest near you. You breathe clean air and find a variety of foods, such as fruits, nuts, herbs, and vegetables. This is a place where you can teach your children about nature, meet your neighbors, and enjoy some quiet time. It's a space that supports both your health and your well-being.
So thanks for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for new environmental stories every week. I'll see you in the next one.